there is something no one expected. When the name of Carlo Acutis was proclaimed saint on September 7, 2025, in a square filled with faithful from all over the world, everyone applauded, moved to tears. But few imagined that from that day on, another story would begin. A story made of signs, of unexplainable graces, of ordinary people who, in every corner of the planet, began to tell of answered prayers, sudden healings, and mysterious dreams. A story that, for many, marks the beginning of Carlo's heavenly mission, the boy who once said, "Everyone is born as an original, but many die as photocopies." Today, that young man who spent hours before the Blessed Sacrament seems to continue his mission, but from heaven. And in this video, we'll discover what has been happening after his canonization. The new testimonies, the extraordinary signs, the visions, and the healings that are moving hearts around the world. But first, let me ask you a question. What if God chose once again to speak through a young person? What if the life of a 20-year-old, who died in 2006, was today living proof that miracles have not ended? Because what you're about to hear is not legend. It's what is truly happening after Carlo Acutis was proclaimed a saint. Carlo Acutis is the first millennial saint in history. Born in 1991, he lived in a world of computers, internet, and video games. But he managed to transform the tools of his time into instruments of evangelization. He created a website documenting every Eucharistic miracle in the world, saying, "The Eucharist is my highway to heaven." When he died at only 15 from acute leukemia, he left behind an enormous spiritual legacy. In 2020, he was declared blessed, and in 2025, saint. And from that moment on, many say, heaven began to move again. Witnesses tell that immediately after September 7, 2025, when Pope Leo XIV proclaimed him a saint, reports of graces and healings began to multiply. Carlo's mother, Antonia Salzano, said it clearly in an interview. "Every day we receive news of healings and conversions. So many people have started going back to Mass because of him." And so, from that day on, it seems Carlo took his new mission very seriously, to show that holiness is not a dream for the few, but a possibility for everyone. The first story comes from Centola in southern Italy, the hometown of Carlo's family. There lives Domenico, a neighbor of Carlo's grandparents. On October 13, 2023, the anniversary of the last apparition of Fatima, he was scheduled for a very dangerous surgery on his abdominal aorta. Doctors had given him only a 1% chance of survival. That morning, as he prayed before the window, something happened. He saw a white trail of light cross the room. Then, within that light, he saw Carlo's smiling face. 3 times the vision appeared, as if saying, "Don't be afraid." Domenico entered the operating room at peace. The surgery lasted 8 hours, but everything went perfectly. When he woke up, the doctors were astonished. "It's a miracle," one of them said. Today, Domenico lives a normal life, and every year he travels to Assisi to thank his young friend in heaven. In the same town, another story moved everyone. Rachele, a woman who had known Carlo in her youth, suffered from serious heart problems. She was terrified of an upcoming medical exam. The night before, she said, Carlo appeared to her in a dream. He told her only a few words. "Stay calm. Everything will be fine." The next morning, Rachele felt an unusual peace. Her tests went well, her heart rhythm returned to normal. Since that day, every evening she lights a candle before Carlo's image and says, "He gave me back my peace." On April 26, 2025, in the town of Saronno, a baby girl was born against every medical prediction. Her name is Matilda Carola, and her parents had been unable to have children for years. In July 2024, desperate, they went to the sanctuary of the Blessed Virgin of Miracles in Saronno. There, they left a note, entrusting their prayer to Carlo Acutis. "We ask you for a child," and so it was. That same month, the woman became pregnant after years of infertility. Matilda was born healthy, on the eve of Carlo's canonization. Her parents said, "For us, the birth of our daughter is proof that Carlo continues to work miracles." On September 7th, the day of the proclamation, they brought little Matilda to the sanctuary to thank him. Their story went viral on social media, inspiring dozens of infertile couples to pray to Carlo for the same blessing. In Ruviano, near Caserta, a woman named Caterina told a story that left her entire community speechless. In 2023, she had been diagnosed with a malignant breast tumor. Caterina was a believer, but she was desperate. One evening, after watching a documentary about Carlo, she took a small image of the young saint and placed it under her arm where she felt the pain. She prayed with all her heart. The next day, the pain was gone. The lump had disappeared. Medical tests confirmed the impossible. The tumor had completely regressed with no medical explanation. Her doctor looked at her, stunned, and said, "I don't know what to tell you, but this is not normal." During a diocesan mass, Caterina shared her testimony before the bishop. "Carlo saved my life. Now I want to live only to testify that God exists." In Barbata, in northern Italy, Mayor Vincenzo Trapattoni lived what he calls a touch of heaven. Stricken by a serious illness in 2024, he began reading Carlo's life during his hospital stay. He was deeply moved and made a vow, "If I recover, I will build a chapel in his honor." The healing was sudden. He never revealed the nature of his illness, only saying it was something serious and unexplainable. He kept his promise. In 2025, Barbata inaugurated a chapel with a statue of Carlo and a relic of his heart. At the ceremony, the mayor, in tears, declared, "Carlo saved me twice, once in body and once in spirit." Even in Latin America, testimonies keep multiplying. A Mexican family, after receiving a small relic of Carlo, prayed for the father, Alejandro, who was suffering from advanced lung cancer. The eldest child, a young boy, led the family in a novena. Every night they prayed, "Carlo, help us not to lose Dad." After 9 days, the doctors noticed an unexpected improvement. Subsequent exams showed a surprising regression of the disease. Alejandro underwent surgery and recovered completely. His wife said, "The doctors can't explain it, but we can." Carlo prayed with us. 3 months later, the family traveled to Assisi to pray before Carlo's incorrupt body and thank him. The photos of that journey, full of smiles and tears, touched thousands of hearts online. In Spain, Maria Dolores Rosique, known as Lola, a pediatrician and mother of 4, was diagnosed with terminal appendiceal cancer. In 2022, doctors had given her 6 months to live. During a trip to Italy, she stopped by Assisi and almost by chance entered the sanctuary of the Spogliazione, where Carlo's body rests. There, in front of his tomb, she prayed, "Carlo, if it is God's will, take me. But if I can stay, let me live to testify to his mercy." From that day, everything changed. The disease stopped progressing. After 2 surgeries and a long recovery, the cancer disappeared. Today, Lola is completely healed. She continues working as a pediatrician and attends Mass daily with her family. She says, "Carlo didn't just heal me, he brought me back to faith." But perhaps Carlo's greatest miracles are not physical ones. They are spiritual. They are the thousands of people who, after learning his story, changed their lives. Young people who stopped living in indifference, parents who rediscovered prayer, hearts that opened again to God. An American priest said, "Carlo Acutis is the saint who evangelizes the world with the language of the young, but with the faith of the ancient saints." Many people tell of dreams in which Carlo appears, always with the same smile and his red sweatshirt. Sometimes he comforts those who have lost a child. Sometimes he encourages those who are sick or lonely. Some say they've smelled a fragrance of incense during prayer. Others swear they've seen him pass silently through the church. When asked about these stories, Carlo's mother, Antonia, answers gently, "Carlo was an instrument of God in life, and he still is today. He doesn't perform miracles to draw attention to himself, but to remind us that God is alive and heaven is real. All these episodes, dreams, healings, conversions, have one thing in common. They are not displays of power, but God's caresses. Through Carlo, the Lord seems to tell the world that holiness is close, that you don't need to be great to do great things. Every miracle of Carlo carries the same message: not me, but God. And perhaps that's what makes him so loved. A young, smiling saint, dressed like us, but with a heart totally belonging to Christ. From Assisi to Mexico, from Santola to Spain, the testimonies keep multiplying. Some speak of a healed relative, others of pain disappearing, others of an unexplainable peace within. And all of them say the same thing: I felt that Carlo was beside me. And while doctors look for answers, believers already have one. It's the love of God, still manifesting itself through the life of a boy who chose heaven as his home. Carlo Acutis no longer belongs to the past, he belongs to the present. Because every time someone kneels before the Eucharist, every time a young heart opens to God, he is there. Today, his relics travel across the world, from Italian churches to American parishes, all the way to Asia. Everywhere they go, small conversions, healings, and signs of hope occur. And his message remains the same: not man, but God. The Eucharist is my highway to heaven. And you? Have you ever asked Carlo Acutis for something? Have you ever experienced a sign, a grace, a consolation? Write it in the comments. Your testimony might be the next to inspire someone. And if you believe that miracles are not over, share this video, because God still acts today through his saints.